I can tell you it was a very exciting moment for us to open this box. It is a Patek Philippe, and it's a complicated Patek Philippe. It is in fact a very complicated Patek Philippe. It is what the scholars define as a grand complication. A grand complication is something that happens to us maybe every 5, sometimes even only every 10 years. So the first question, of course, we asked ourselves is, where does this watch come from? Whom did it belong to? It has a beautiful monogram on the back that reads SSP. Who is SSP? And what's the date of manufacture of the watch? Let me show you what we have. This watch was delivered to us with the original certificate, made out by Patek Philippe Geneva in the October of 1900, mentioning that the case is monogrammed SSP. But who was SSP? It is fully described as a grand complication, and there's another element that shows the truth. The original invoice made out to Stephen Palmer, staying at the Beau Rivage Hotel in Geneva in October of 1900. What do we know about Stephen Palmer? We have figured out that he was one of the leading businessmen and leading entrepreneurs of the turn of the century here in America. He was an extremely successful man who had investments in banks, zinc, steel, copper, rail, roads, railway, construction, any business that would make you become very, very wealthy. He was in business with Cornelius Vanderbilt, one of those businessmen that 100 years later give us the explanation why the 20th century was called the American century. A man who also donated substantial amounts of money to Princeton University. The man who is responsible for why Palmerton is called Palmerton. A man who wrote history in this country. And that alone is provenance, but when we look at the documents, the watch and himself, then we start realizing what role he played in the world of watches. A grand complication by Patek Philippe is as good as it can get. It is the gold standard complication by the manufacturer that is broadly associated as the ultimate masters of complicated watches. The watch is in virtually mint and unused condition. We believe, in fact, that for over a century it was in this wooden box and did not see any wear or even daylight. And here comes the scoop. This isn't just a grand complication by Patek Philippe. It is the first ever made and recorded grand complication by Patek Philippe. The movement, which still 113 after its making is in unbelievable fresh and untouched condition, is a 2-train movement. 2 trains, because one train is for the going, for the movement, one is for the striking mechanism. It is fitted with an unusually large bimetallic compensation balance that would compensate the temperatures and isochronism, very important at the time. It is not different from a grand complication that Packard or Graves ordered 10, 20, 30 years later, but it is the first one, and I must say I've never seen such a mint example in my career.